The story begins at the port where a kind man named Jong is returning home with food for his daughter, Sue. He knocks on her room door and walks in to find her watching TV. When he talks to her, she slowly turns her head. And to his shock, she's actually a zombie who tries to attack him, but Young knows how to handle her and manages to stop her. Young works as a tiger trainer at the zoo and is very skilled at his job. We then go back to see how Sue was infected. She was practicing dancing for a competition. We return to Jong, who has prepared a surprise birthday party for Sue with her grandmother. Her grandmother promises her a sweet treat when she visits. After the call ends, Sue says she misses her grandmother, but her father interrupts to ask what she wants for her birthday. She replies that she just wishes he'd stop giving her the same kind of sweets every year. Then she asks about her gift, and he teases her before pointing her toward it. It's a pair of headphones she'd always wanted. Just then, Sue notices something strange and calls her father quickly. When he comes, they both see their neighbors acting oddly. At first, they think the couple is just fighting, but when they look closer, they see the woman biting into the man's neck. She's turned into a zombie. They panic and hide, but Sue's phone rings, and the zombie hears it, banging her head against the glass until it cracks. Jong shields his daughter and runs with her out of the apartment. Outside, the whole neighborhood is in chaos. Everyone, even the dogs, has turned into zombies. Jong tries to call the police, but no one answers. He tells his daughter they must escape to her grandmother's village. When she asks how they'll get there, he says they'll pretend to be infected so no one attacks them. Before she can object, a group of zombies appears, and they act like the infected, managing to slip past. While running, Sue trips and almost gets bitten, but Jong covers for her. Luckily, the old zombie who bites has false teeth, so he escapes unharmed. He hides her behind a pole and tells her to stay put while he brings the car. After fighting off several zombies, he finally gets to her and they drive away. He's relieved, but he notices Sue hiding her hand and discovers to his horror that she's been bitten. It happened when they were running earlier. A young infected boy bit her without her noticing. Jong tries to reassure her that they'll go to the hospital and she'll get treated. But soon the symptoms appear and she starts to transform. She attacks him in the car, but he slams on the brakes, knocking her unconscious, and finally makes it to her grandmother's village. The grandmother is shocked to see Young alone and asks where Sue is. He says she's not well, and the grandmother rushes to check on her. When she enters the room, it's a complete mess. The grandmother manages to defend herself. Later, she breaks down crying when she realizes what happened to the girl on her birthday. Jong comforts her and turns on the news where the government announces emergency measures to contain the infection and warns citizens to avoid contact with anyone showing symptoms. Jong takes Sue to a hospital, but decides to go in first alone. Inside, he sees a woman trying to protect her infected son, while police discuss using lethal force if necessary. The boy suddenly bites his mother, and the officers shoot him. Horrified, Yang runs out and drives away with Sue. He digs a deep hole, intending to bury her himself rather than let the government shoot her. But when he remembers how she used to call him dad, he can't do it. He drops the shovel, hugs her, crying, and says, "Let's die together." His mother hits him, saying she ended herself if he won't, but he stops her. While they argue, Sue escapes. They chase after her, and John guesses where she's gone. He's right. She's returned to the place she used to visit with her aunt when she was little. He says that as long as Sue still remembers things, she must be alive like before. His mother hits him, reminding him that the news said all infected are dead. To be sure, he plays her favorite song, the one she used to dance to every day. To his joy, she starts responding and dancing to it, just like before. Back home, Jong listens to a doctor on TV explaining that the virus destroys brain function, but leaves only instinct alive, and that stimulating brain activity might help restore memory and weaken the virus. Jong is overjoyed at this possibility. Then, a man named Dong, Jong's old friend, visits the grandmother's house. He greets Jong warmly and asks about Sue. When he accidentally sees Sue's condition, he panics and tries to call the police. but Jong stops him, takes his phone, and shows him videos of Sue dancing to her favorite song. Jong explains the doctor's theory that stimulating the brain through memories could weaken the virus. He asks Dong to help him train Sue to regain her memory. Dong refuses, warning him about the danger to the villagers and the grandmother. Jong pleads with him, asking what kind of father abandons his child. If you were in my place, would you? Later, Yang tells his mother that he asked Dong to take Sue away the next morning. But the next day, Dong returns with new hope. He's contacted someone at a major US pharmaceutical company that has completed animal testing on a potential cure and will soon submit it to the government. He offers to help Yang train Sue until then. Excited, Jang begins working with Sue. First lesson is to stop biting people, but she fails completely. The second is about social skills, making eye contact and expressing affection, but that too fails. Despite setbacks, he continues recording everything: how she doesn't bite when she's full, how she reacts to sounds, and so on. Eventually, Sue starts to adapt. In one scene, Jong stops her from biting, but later offers his hand. This time, she doesn't bite, proving she's learning. He's so proud. He teaches her how to greet people politely and slowly encourages her to call him dad. She can't speak yet, but he never loses hope that one day she will. Sue calls her grandmother over to watch a video by a famous YouTuber doing girls' makeup. The grandmother leaves a comment under the video saying, "My granddaughter isn't infected with any virus. Her face is just a bit swollen." Then she tells him to go buy Sue some makeup to cover the swelling on her face. He agrees and goes to the store. There, he sees two girls laughing and playing together, which makes him sad for Sue. He then sees them heading to a nearby school, and when one of the teachers spots him, he hides, but she notices him anyway and follows him. Her name is Yoon. Later, Jong tells his friend about meeting her, and we learn that Yoon was Sue's childhood friend and also Jong's first love. Jong is surprised when Yoon walks into the restaurant and joins them. She says, "Let's be honest, I've heard everything about you. You're divorced and your daughter is under treatment for a brain condition, which is why she doesn't go to school." Jong glares at his friend, angry that he's told her these things. Yoon suggests enrolling Sue at the local school, but John refuses, saying she'll study at home instead. Then the news comes on, announcing that a cure for the zombie virus is finally ready. Yoon mutters that she hates zombies. Both men freeze for a second. She continues, "The government calls them infected, but to me, they're all disgusting. Whenever she sees a zombie, she reports or kills them herself." Later that night, Yoon goes to Sue's room to get her some clean clothes. She finds a box full of Sue's photos and memories. Sue suddenly comes and sits beside her, apologizing tearfully for being such a burden. "I'm trying my best," she says, "but nothing ever works. Can you wait for me a little longer?" Jong replies softly, "Of course, I'll wait." Then Sue asks him to dance with her, and he does, smiling sadly until he looks around and realizes he's alone. He'd been imagining the whole thing. He collapses, crying over what his daughter has become. When he gets home, he finds Yoon there. Angry, he pulls his mother aside. "How could you let her in?" The grandmother says if I turned her away, she'd get suspicious. But at that exact moment, Sue opens her door and steps out. Yoon greets her politely, but Jang rushes to block her and takes Sue inside. He explains that Sue doesn't see many strangers, and Yoon apologizes awkwardly before leaving. Outside, Jang scolds her. "Who said you could come to my house whenever you want? You're not my girlfriend." Embarrassed, she walks away. The next morning, the grandmother helps Sue get ready, doing her makeup and making her look beautiful. They go out together, but Sue suddenly follows the smell of food and walks into a shop, taking a meal without paying. The shopkeeper chases after her until Jong finds her, hugs her in relief, and then hears her finally speak for the first time. She says the name of the food she's holding. Jong cries. She's getting better. Meanwhile, the grandmother discovers that Yoon had entered their home while they were out and found Yoon's notes, revealing the full truth that Sue is actually a zombie. Worse, Yoon was about to report her, but the grandmother stopped her just in time. Furious, the grandmother blurts out a shocking truth. Jong isn't Sue's biological father. She explains everything, how Sue's real parents always fought because her father was greedy and wanted to take the money saved for Sue Jong, who worked for them at the time, couldn't stand how cold-hearted the man was. They kicked Jong out, and he swore he would take care of the little girl himself. He brought her to Seoul, and they lived happily for years. One day, Jong's friend Dong invited him back to the village for his birthday, saying all his old friends would be there, even Yoon. Jong left Sue alone to attend, but his sister called, scolded him for abandoning the child. "You said you'd take responsibility for her," she reminded him. On her way to check on Sue, she was hit by a car and died. From that day on, Jong blamed himself. When Sue later called him dad, he promised he'd truly be her father from that moment on and would never leave her again. Back to the present, Jong and Sue return home, and Yoon tries to attack Sue to kill her, but Jong shields his daughter and takes the hit instead. He warns Yoon never to come near Sue again. Inside, they all try to think of a solution as the school principal is coming tomorrow with officials to check on Sue's education. Sue says she could attend school for one day just to prove she's fine. Jong reluctantly agrees. The next day, they prepare Sue carefully. Yoon takes her to class and introduces her to the students. They greet her politely, but start bullying her soon after. When they mock her too much, her eyes suddenly change color, terrifying them. Jong rushes in to fix her contact lenses. During gym class, the students keep picking on her until a ball hits her hard in the face, knocking her down. Jong gets angry at Yoon, thinking she allowed it to happen. Later, Yoon and the students apologize to Sue. Meanwhile, the grandmother is playing with Sue at home, laughing happily until someone knocks on the door. It's her deceased daughter's husband, Sue's biological father. She tries to slam the door, but he forces his way in, demanding to see his daughter. When she asks why, he shows her a viral video of Sue attacking a woman, with people online calling for the government to eliminate the monster. The grandmother yells at him for believing such nonsense, but he spots Sue and storms into her room, claiming, "I'm your real father." The grandmother hits him, telling him to leave, but he shoves her violently to the ground. She immediately calls Jong, who rushes home. It turns out the man came only to turn Sue in and collect the government's bounty. Jong arrives and fights him fiercely, knocking him down into the road just as a car nearly hits them. They both survive, but the real father starts beating Jong, shouting that Sue is his daughter and he's taking her home. Jong punches back and yells, "You don't have the right to call her your daughter. Sue is mine alone." The man taunts him, saying, "You're the reason your sister died. If it weren't for you, we'd all still be happy." Then he calls Sue a zombie. Jang beats him mercilessly. Seeing her father in danger, Sue can't hold back. She lunges forward and bites the man. The man transforms into a zombie too. Jong tells his friend to escape with Sue, but his friend warns him that helping her would make him a criminal. Jong ignores him, ready to run anyway. Yoon shows up, saying she knows everything and refuses to let him face this alone. Together, they prepare everything for Sue's escape. Jong gives Yoon a letter to deliver, saying he can't face anyone anymore. When Yoon goes to deliver it, she notices police cars nearby. They've tracked Sue's location. The police chief orders his men to shoot on sight if they see her. The grandmother tries to call Jong, but his phone is off. Yoon reads the letter, in which Jong writes that by the time they read his words, he'll be on the run with Sue to protect her, even if it makes him a criminal. He apologizes to everyone and asks for their forgiveness.
As the police surround the place, Jong tells Sue not to worry.
But he knows it's over. He apologizes for not being able to protect her. The police call for him to come out, saying the infected is dangerous. Jong shouts, "She's not infected. She's not dangerous." They give him one last warning, but he refuses to surrender unless they promise not to hurt her. The officer replies coldly, "We don't negotiate with criminals," and they storm the building. Jong hugs Sue tightly, apologizing again. "I couldn't protect you," he says. Then he begs her, "Bite me, please. That way, we'll be together forever." She refuses, but he pleads again, crying. She finally bites him. The police burst in and open fire. Jong shields her and takes the bullet. Instead, for the first time ever, Sue speaks clearly. "Dad." He smiles weakly and says, "Be safe, my girl." Later, Sue wakes up in a hospital bed cured. The virus is gone. She's human again. The first thing she asks is, "Where's my dad?" Sue's grandmother takes her to visit him, and we discover that he's in the hospital too. It turns out that 3 months earlier, when he was shot, Jong didn't die. He fell into a coma. Doctors later found antibodies to the zombie virus in his blood, something that greatly accelerated the recovery process. It turns out that Sue biting him had caused his body to develop an immune response. His system had learned to fight the virus on its own. The grandmother gives Sue Jong's journal, the one where he had written down all her progress, every little achievement she made. She sits there crying, reading his words, feeling all the love and sacrifices her father made for her. Then comes the day of Sue's long-awaited dance competition. She finally performs on stage, and she's incredible. Her movements are confident, full of life and emotion. Yun is there in the audience, recording the performance. Suddenly, she notices something unbelievable. Yong's finger moves. He's waking up. The film ends there.